So the Memphis Grizzlies have fired Taylor Jenkins. Should he be on the Spurs shortlist of the next head coach?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for KENS San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hope you're having a great day. And as always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day, free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, KENS Plus app. Check out the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, click that link there. It says LO Spurs newsletter. Sign up right now. It is completely free. Yeah, go do that immediately. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So what are we talking about today? Taylor Jenkins. Yeah, a shocking move by the Memphis Grizzlies. Just firing him with just a few games left on the schedule. They are playoff bound. They have a good team, could make some noise. So WTF? Why? What happened? We're going to dive into that. Should he now become part of the Spurs shortlist of future head coaches should Popovich not come back? They were going to preview tonight's game, Spurs, Magic. Oh my God, what happened the other game, man? I guess the Warriors. Woo! Yeah, that was just a bad. Hopefully the Spurs get a W, man, because that was a beat down. But we'll focus on that, Spurs, Magic, in just a few minutes. Going to bring in our guest. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Rudy, welcome back to Locked On Spurs.
I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Are you feeling okay, buddy? I know you've been feeling kind of down right now, like physically. Like, you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I think every now and then our body tells us we need to relax a little bit and stop working hard and all that stuff. So I think that's what it is. Just kind of one of those points where you got to just take a breather and take a relaxation or a couple of days off or something.
And you see, hopefully Locked On Spurs give you a little break from your daily grind right now. Get your mind off work, get your mind off deadlines and what you got to do, and talk something about the NBA and the Spurs. So, Rudy, by the way, everybody, make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. Check out his show, Sweep the League. He'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Rudy, let's go and dive into it here. The Memphis Grizzlies made a shocking move recently. Went out of the blue, nowhere, just boom, they announced that they have fired their longtime head coach, Taylor Jenkins. Your reaction when you heard the news?
My reaction was just like everybody around the NBA world. I was shocked at it. I mean, you're talking about Taylor Jenkins, who right now Memphis was at a 44-29 record. I mean, playoff bound again with him. Just shocked. I mean, initially I thought, well, something had to have happened off the court in order for that to happen, because normally if something some rumblings are going on, you kind of hear about it, but there was no report of anything. When originally, I will say, I stated that originally I felt kind of like maybe an Ime Udoka type thing where something happened off the court. But as more and more comes out, I really don't think it was that. I think it actually was a quote unquote strategic move by Memphis front office, which I can't even imagine them thinking that it's a good move. But shocked is probably the word that's probably being nice of how I was when I found out the news.
Yeah, I was saying with you. I thought, what did he do? Well, my first thought, what did he do? Because also in the back of my head is, how do they let a guy go that has brought success to the Grizzlies? Talk about a guy who, has taken the Memphis team to the playoffs, got as far as the conference semifinals, missed the playoff just 2 times in his tenure with Memphis. They've gone to the first round a couple of times, got into the conference semifinals. You're looking at this season, they look like they could make some noise depending how the matchups go. But they're a team that no other team wants to face in the postseason. So outside of the whole Ime thing, my other thought was, well, maybe, it came to a butting of heads between him and the star player, Ja Morant. We spoke about this on your show, saying that Ja hasn't been looking like Ja since he's come back from those off the court incidences. He's not, he's still a fine player, but, he just haven't seen the Ja Morant off the court issues. Do you think that could be something there? Because when it comes down to it, head coach or star player, a team is always going to go with the star player and let go of the head coach to make the star player happy.
as more reports are coming out, it seems more clear that it is a Ja Morant type of issue. Not necessarily what's going on off the court, but apparently what people are saying around the league is the fact that Taylor Jenkins is disrupting Ja Morant's development and not utilizing him the way he should be utilized on the Memphis' team. So basically, what you said is pretty much, I think, pretty accurate. If that's the way that it's going to be reported, is the fact that you know it's star player, it's head coach. You're going to take the star player a lot of times because you can always replace the head coach with somebody you're hoping to be equal or greater value to the team. So I think what it was seeing, Ja's role switched up a little bit. Taylor Jenkins is a guy that what doesn't want to rely on his star player. He wants to rely on a team attitude, team atmosphere in order for the team to be successful in today's game of, TikTok and social media. You got to sell your brand. If Ja Morant's not the guy, not getting the looks that he wants or, scoring 40, 30 points a game, putting up highlight reels, tends to work and, not work in his favor. So, yeah, the Ja Morant, a star head coach, is going to probably take a star over a head coach any day.
Yeah, it would. I think what was just so shocking about it is the timing of it. At that time where, the playoffs were around the corner. Grizzlies just had less than 10 games to play. They're holding on to that. Where they're locked into the playoff. And there's no play-in for them. They are locked at that. Well, not locked yet, but they're competing for the number 4 seed. And so there's that, and that's another shocking move. He's a past coach of the year winner, I believe. But it's just the timing. The timing was what threw me off. And, you also read reports. There's some saying that nobody really should be too surprised about this because this past offseason, the Grizzlies fired a lot of his assistant staff.
Yeah.
So hired a brand new one. Didn't really involve him in that process. And another reason why it was shocking is because he had just signed a multi-year deal with Memphis. He has long-term job security. That went out the door. You hear reports about the offense, how the offense wasn't really conducive. Again, do you think that goes back to the offense not really clicking for your star player?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it's coming down to is the offense. I mean, like I said, it revolved around Ja Morant. It was a Ja Morant-led offense. He kind of controlled the pace. Similar, and not when I say similar, it's like the idea of James Harden, ball in his hand, create for other players, get his own shots off, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not really Taylor Jenkins' coaching style. I mean, look at his past history. He's coached the Austin Toros as a part of their NBDO championship with the Austin Toros. He's been under Coach Bud, who obviously is a pop from the pop tree. So he knows about team atmosphere. He knows about team play. And it just didn't work in Memphis. And the offense sputtered a lot because, again, if you're going to revolve an offense around one guy, a la, a James Harden or a Joel Embiid or something like that, it doesn't tend to work all the time. So, yeah, it's a sad situation. And, like you mentioned before, we talked about it on Sweep. They got rid of his entire coaching staff just out of the blue. And you normally don't ever see that and a coach be taken off guard like that. So the whole situation is kind of fishy. And I think it was just kind of not necessarily mutual parting, but it was something as I think Ja Morant, was not behind it, but I think it was the front office saying, you know what, we need to go in a different direction. Our offense isn't looking good. We're getting ready for the playoffs. We got to do it now. Yeah. But again, it's the timing that's horrible. I mean, at least do it in the off season. Don't do it now where you're already in the mix of the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And there's other factors that could have contributed to this, though. I believe this year the Grizzlies do not have a good record against above 500 teams. They're like 11-21 or something like that against good teams. The reason why they have a good record is they beat up on bad teams. They're about 33-9 against teams with a sub 500 record. So you go into the playoffs, guess what? You're playing teams with above 500 record. So there could have been a fear that it'll be another disappointing postseason. And that comes to that point as well. We talked about his history, in the postseason, he's taken them as furthest to the conference semifinals. But you look back at 2021, lost in the first round, in 22-23, lost in the first round. 23-24, didn't make the playoffs. This season, obviously not going to happen. If we look at in 2019, didn't make the playoffs, but yet they were third in the division. So perhaps there was also that factor too, Rudy, that he does not have a good playoff record.
Yeah, but I mean, Memphis has never really been a team built to be an actual contender. It reminds me a lot of, the old Spurs teams, and not taking a shot at the Spurs, but you knew they were locked in for the playoffs. They just never had all the pieces to get to the finals. I mean, their best chance in the Robinson era before Duncan was when they, had the Rod Strickland pass, and that was, against Portland. So outside of that, I mean, even though the Spurs had the best record in the league from time to time, they always ran into an even better team in the playoffs, and that's similar to what Memphis has. So does it go towards Jenkins as, having a bad playoff record? Yeah, it does. But again, you can only coach with the players that you're given. And, if you feel like some players are better fit to your organization and your team, you go get them. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So I can't really put the blame all on Taylor. But again, records speak, numbers are numbers, and they speak for themselves, the playoff record. But also at the same time, you're talking about a guy who, if Ja Morant isn't out all last season, I mean, what would that be? 4 consecutive playoff appearances? So again, out of his hands and out of his control. But yeah, I guess a bad playoff record can do wonders, for these front offices, and think, well, we're done with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that I would push back on is as far as the offense was an issue was because of how much improved they were this season. They went from about 11th in the NBA in offense 2 seasons ago, and now I think they're around 5 or 6 this year. So there's that as well. So it just, maybe this was just a long-term move for the Grizzlies, but again, it's just the timing. This is a team that was secured a playoff spot. They're in the top 6. They're in, right? They are a good team with Morant and Triple J. They're going to, be a team that perhaps you don't want to face. And then I forget there's Bane, and, there's Aldama. They got some good quality players. So this was just a preemptive move before what the Memphis Grizzlies thought would be a bad showing again in the postseason, or I mean, it's just the time is. I think it'd be different if he just barely squeaked into the play-in or not make the play-in at all, and this big, but I think they could have just let the season run out. Maybe this is just a bad look on Memphis exec level, because you could handle this once their season is done.
It's a horrible look for the Memphis front office, and I'll say this is that you're going into the playoffs, but I mean, are you really expected to win the title this year? I mean, no, there are a good amount of teams ahead of you in title contention that are going to get to the NBA Finals. Memphis was not built to get to the finals. So again, you're firing your coach as a playoff team. What does that tell, a coach coming in? I can lead you to, said playoffs, but I can't ever lead you to the championship, so you're not good enough for us. Well, one team wins it every year. It's not going to be Memphis every single year. They're not going to be contenders every year. So the timing on this is just horrible. It's a horrible look for Memphis's front office. And yeah, I mean, just let them coach the regular season into the playoffs. And if you're done with it, you're done with it. But who the hell is going to come in and lead them even further to where they would have gotten with Taylor Jenkins?
Yeah, we'll see. Well, that's Memphis's problem, not the Spurs. But all this talk about Jenkins leads to the big question. Now that he's available, should the Spurs throw him into the hat for the next head coaching spot? Should Popovich officially retire? We're going to be discussing that when we get back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. But first, I want to talk to you about Monarch Money.
Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining online, shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Money Monarch isn't just a budget app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing all your money and you start building wealth. Look, you get surprising insights. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. Easy collaboration, managing money with your partner smoother than ever. You can track shared or personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without the stress, all in one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, even plan long-term goals. Right now, you want to take control of your finances with Money Monarch. Use code LOCKEDNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDNBA for half off your first year.
Basketball season is heating up, and there's no better way to get real money action while watching your favorite NBA stars with Prize Picks. Whether you're a diehard fan or just love some friendly competition, Prize Picks makes it fun and easy to turn your basketball knowledge into cash. Here's how it works. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Think Wembanyama's going to drop 30 points? Maybe Devin's going to get more than 8 assists? Prize Picks lets you make your predictions and put your money where your mouth is in just 60 seconds. Look, I've been using Prize Picks all season long. It's very addictive. I mean, last week, well, just pretty much every day, Wemby's going for more than 20 plus points. You got Devin Vassell playing well right now. That's the kind of action I'm talking about. And with Prize Picks Flex Play option, even if one of my picks doesn't hit, I can still double my money. Plus, once I hit, I get my money fast, sometimes as quick as 15 minutes. It's honestly the best way to keep the game exciting. Now's the perfect time to join. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. No need to win to get in on the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked on Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League, and wish him well, by the way. He's feeling a little bit under the weather right now. So, send your good thoughts his way on X at Sweep the League. And we're talking about Taylor Jenkins, Memphis Grizzlies former coach. What happened, WTF moment, and moving forward, and perhaps his future plans could be a return to the Spurs organization. Look, Rudy, the Spurs, it looks like that head coaching spot is in flux right now. Mitch Johnson is the interim coach right now, but it looks like he does not have the head coaching spot on lock. Should Popovich call it a day? There's only so many good quality candidates out there. There's Mike Brown, there's Monty Williams, there's now Taylor Jenkins. Yes, throw in Mitch Johnson as well. I think he earned at least to have his name in the hat. So there's that. But with Jenkins available now, Rudy, should he be at the top of the Spurs list, like number one target, or just in the mix?
You asked me this on Sweep the other day, and I said that, it depends on what happened behind the scenes. I'm gonna stick to that, a little bit here. I think he should be in the mix. Now, at the top of the list, if everything comes out to where it's just, they didn't like his coaching style, or they were, he wasn't developing Ja the way they wanted him to, then I would say that's kind of a BS thing, and he probably needs to go to the top of the list, right there with Mike Brown and Monty Williams. So I would say if that's the case, yeah, he needs to be towards the top. But for right now, in the mix is fine. I think it still needs to get all these cloudy days over Memphis need to just clear out of the way. And they need to get the understanding of what really happened, make sure there really is nothing behind the scenes that went on. It was just a coaching move, strategy type move for Memphis. But overall, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy in the system, a younger guy too at that, one that has success and has been able to coach younger players and develop them, not named Ja Morant. But, the thing too is that I think he fits perfectly with the Spurs. I think he brings a good mentality, a good toughness to them. So, yeah, 100% of the time, I think you would put him in the mix there. At the top, probably not quite at the top, but definitely in the mix.
Yeah, and by the way, earlier I misspoke. He did not win. I don't believe he won Coach of the Year.
He never won Coach of the Year.
He never won, yeah. So I meant to say he won the Coach of the Month a few times during his career. I think back in 2020, January 2020 and December 2021. So, yeah, he's a multiple Coach of the Month winner. But never Coach of the Year. But nevertheless, he does have the resume. So let's go over his resume. So we mentioned the playoff appearances. The deepest he's gone is the conference semifinals in 21-22. But he has lost in the first round a couple of times and missed the playoffs in a couple of times. And then again, He's only been with the Memphis Grizzlies up until this point, 5 seasons. So there's that. Keep that in mind. So 3 out of 5 ain't bad. It's getting a young team, hint, a young team into the postseason. So we mentioned that he's won the Coach of the Month award a few times. Look, he's for what it is, he is at that time an NBA D League title winner, coach, and back in 2012 with the Austin Toros.
Yeah.
So there's that. And speaking of the Austin Toros, he served as assistant coach in the Spurs system with the Austin Toros from 2008 to 12, head coach 2012 to 13. He has experience as assistant coach with the Hawks and the Bucks, and then obviously his time with Memphis as the head coach. You mentioned his age, just 40 years old. So he's still young. And he would fit in with this young Spurs team. You look at his overall body of work, it's not horrible, but it's also not great as well, Rudy. Let's be honest. It's not like he's taking this Memphis team. He took the Memphis team to the conference finals or something, but and then you look at the playoff record and you look at his time as this season not beating top tier teams. Do you think that's what's holding you back from making you feel he should be the number 1 pick? Is that although he has a good resume, it's not outstanding?
No, that's not holding me back at all. Like I said, I think it's just more of doing your due diligence as a front office and just, making sure all the boxes are checked off when what really happened in Memphis. I mean, there's obviously the people, we can't talk about that. We can't, as a Spurs organization, you got to do your due diligence. You got to make sure that everything was in true. He wasn't getting in arguments with players in the locker room or something like that. So you really got to dive deep in to see what really happened. And if everything checks out good, then yeah, there's no reason why he shouldn't be at the top spot. If you look at coaching resumes, I mean, you've seen, like we mentioned previously, you've seen how Mike Brown has been, to the NBA Finals, obviously with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But there's coaches out there that deserve the same amount of thought into the coaching process than just Taylor Jenkins. So, yeah, Taylor Jenkins definitely could be at the top. But no, there's nothing holding me back on that.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think for me, he rises to the top of the list, but not the number 1 guy. But he's close. He's close for me because you look at the available coaches that could possibly do it. He's among one of the stronger names. Monty Williams is out there. He's in San Antonio. Could he be a dark horse right now? There's that. You mentioned Mike Brown many times. He was winning in Sacramento. Things didn't happen. And yes, coming back to San Antonio for Mike Brown and then rejoining De'Aaron Fox would not be a problem. I think, Rudy, you spelled that out, that there was never a Fox-Brown problem, right?
Yeah, it never was.
Yeah. So there's that. So, and then there's Mitch Johnson. Here's the thing, though. Do you think if Taylor Jenkins' name gets thrown into the hat, does that push down Mitch Johnson as far as the short list for the Spurs? You think that kind of like hurts him more?
I think so. I mean,
yeah, me too.
I mean, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. I think Mitch is pretty far down the list compared to, knowing that there's other coaches with a lot of experience and a lot of success already out there. I think Mitch is probably not near the top. He's just in consideration. I mean, he was coaching the team this year. So, again, never a knock to Mitch Johnson. But if you can get an experienced coach with a lot of, veteran presence and a lot of success, that's probably the route you want to go, knowing that you've already got a team getting ready to be assembled to start contending at least for the playoffs. You probably got to go with that coach like that.
Yeah. And if we look at some Vegas betting odds here, yes, they're already out. But I don't know how Vegas gets this done quick, man. Seriously. From predicting, Vegas just knows all. Let's put it that way, everybody. Vegas just knows all. Let's go and find them out here. Yes, according to Bovada, the Spurs are a plus 700 for the next landing spot for Taylor Jenkins. That puts them third. The top of the list is the Philadelphia 76ers at plus 400 and the Bulls at plus 500. Again, the Spurs are third, according to Bovada, the favorites to land Jenkins. So plus 700, and that's It's not like any team's running away with it. Right behind the Spurs are the Kings with plus 900. So it looks like it could be a tight race should some of these teams go after him. But if you're Jenkins, though, Rudy, I mean, San Antonio has to be the top of your personal list. You get to go back to where you cut your teeth. And then you got almost a ready-made team with Wemby being your centerpiece. And you got De'Aaron Fox. You got Stephon Castle. And then they're going to draft a high pick. If you're Jenkins, San Antonio has to be at the top of your list, right?
Easily. I think San Antonio is one of the prime spots that if a coaching spot becomes available, you will see a lot of coaches who are either already, looking for a team, or even coaches that may be on their way out from the current team, probably looking at San Antonio as the number one destination for them.
Yeah, I think you're Jenkins. Yeah, San Antonio has to be your number one spot. By the way, he's 4 years old. Look at a picture of him, man. Being a head coach must age you, right? It's got to age you. No way he looks 4 years old, man. No boy. Younger than you and I, and he looks older than me. But I think Jenkins' name deserves to be in the hat. He'll likely will be if and when Pop makes his official decision. It'll be interesting. But you know what? Hey, if Mitch Johnson gets put back on the assistant coaching rank, I mean, he'd be a strong first assistant to Jenkins. I mean, he knows the players. He got to coach them on a head coaching level. He'd be like one of the most solid first assistant coaches in the NBA. Or who knows, Rudy, maybe another team might try to scoop up Mitch Johnson, but that's for a whole other show. But yeah, I like Taylor Jenkins. Throw him in the hat. Put him near the top of your short list if you're the Spurs looking for the next head coach. He looks like he fits the bill. Toughness, fiery on the court. Sometimes the Spurs can use that. And I think I think he would command some respect instantly from the current players. And I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good fit. He gets to come home and help with this rebuild process. And man, you're Jenkins. You look back years from now. I say the Spurs hire him. The Spurs are sitting at the top of the West. Like, man, that was a silver lining there. Thank you, Memphis, for letting me go. I get to coach Wemby. I get to coach Fox, Castle, and this top 10 pick the Spurs picked in the 2025 draft. It's all good. All right, those are our thoughts right there. Should the Spurs go and chase Taylor Jenkins? Looks like me and Rudy are saying absolutely. Well, what do you think? Pros or cons? Let us know. Let Rudy know on X at Sweep the League. Let me know by simply following the Locked On Spurs YouTube page and leave it a comment there. Let us know what you think. Is Jenkins the guy for the Spurs? Should Popovich call it a day? All right. Coming up next, we're going to be discussing tonight's game, Spurs and Magic. Oh, man, what a terrible game that was the other day. Huh, Rudy? Ugh.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty bad. But hopefully the Spurs can erase that bad taste and get a W versus the Magic. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk to you about Game Time.
There's nothing like watching basketball live. The energy of the crowd, the sound of sneakers on the hardwood, and maybe even a celebrity signing courtside. If you want to catch a game in person, Game Time makes tickets getting them easier than ever. Game Time's new feature, Game Time Picks, filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time scrolling through thousands of tickets. You got easy ticket shopping. You just check it on the Game Time app. Check out the amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up. Super deals. Game Time Picks even highlight super deals, giving you the best bang for your buck. Peace of mind. View seats before you buy. No surprise fees. The lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
What's up, guys? This is KG Tang, voice of Sanami Shinizugawa and Demon Slayer, and you're watching Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. He'll talk about his show in just a few minutes. All right, Rudy, what happened that last game, man? Did they even show up?
It's amazing. That's all I'm going to say. I'm with the end of the season.
Her Warriors just beat the you-know-what off them.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. We had Pods hit a career high in points, and Phew, it was so bad. I think they think the Warriors hit like 90 points, and the third quarter wasn't even over yet. That's how bad it was. And I think the biggest lead was 47 points. You know what? Moving forward, I don't want to talk about that game anymore. It never happened. La 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 la. It never happened. Let's look at tonight's game. Spurs Magic. Start off with the Magic. Coming into tonight's game, 36-39, 8th in the conference. Looking at the last 5 games, they're cranking up the defense, and that's where I'm going to start off right there. Defense. Spurs don't really play a lot of it. Well, the Magic in the last 5 games play a lot of defense. They're third in the NBA in defensive rating at 107. They are putting the clamps down on opponents. And ultimately, I think that's going to be the Spurs' doom, and the Spurs might get a W tonight. But if there's anything that the Spurs use to their advantage is the offense. Now, the Magic in the last 5 games are not good offensively, kind of middle of the pack. They're not the best, not the worst. 118.1 offensive rating in the last 5. So this is going to be a tale of two styles. Unfortunately, though, defense wins and Magic have it. Spurs don't. Again, how many points they gave up to the Warriors. The only way I can think about this is the Spurs just blitz the Magic offensively. But man, Rudy, defense wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, defense wins championship is what they say. Not saying Orlando's a championship team, but the thing is the defense is probably going to overcome, the Spurs. Without Wemby, without De'Aaron Fox, can really be an offense that just sputters a lot of times. So, Orlando's obviously one of the better young teams in the league, up and coming with Wagner and Paolo Banchero. So I hate to say normally I always pick against the Spurs on Lockdown. I've lately picked for the Spurs the last couple of episodes, I believe. But in this one, Orlando's getting ready for the playoffs, man. They're getting ready for that playoff push. So they're getting ready for any type of postseason move. I think they're in the play-in right now. But again, no matter what, they're still going to gear up for the play-in spot, get ready for that part of the season. So I expect them to fully come in and just clamp down the San Antonio Spurs and probably come out with a W.
Yeah, the Magic are 4-1 in their last 5 heading into tonight's game. So they're definitely humming at the right point. You're talking about, again, defensive measurements here for Orlando in the last 5, rebounding percentage of 54.9. So we go 55. That's good for second in the NBA. Defensive rebounding, they're getting those second chance opportunities. Third in the NBA, 81.8 defensive rebounding percentage. So yikes. They're definitely cleaning up their own glass. Offensive rebounding, 27.9%. Good for 8th. They just get it done on the glass. They get it done defensively. And then they have the firepower. But you look at the Magic, though. For a while there, I was looking at the Magic as a blueprint for the Spurs rebuild. They got hit with some injuries early in their season. So, you give them a little bit of a pass for that. But look at them. Look, Spurs fans, see, there was light until the Magic got out of their rebuild and they're getting better. Same thing could happen for the Spurs. Now, for the Spurs, though, again, they're coming off of just an embarrassing loss to the Golden State Warriors. It was just nasty. I don't even want to recap it here. But the Spurs, again, they're coming into tonight's game 31-43. And you got their last 5, they're 1-4. And we talk about the defensive rating, how good the Magic are. The Spurs in the last 5, a defensive rating of 122.3, 22nd in the NBA. Their offense is not even humming anymore. In their last 5, 112.2, good for 23rd in the NBA. This team is just falling off a cliff right now. Man, another long night for the Spurs, Rudy?
I believe so. Like I said, I think Orlando comes in, they're getting prepared for playing, the next season of the NBA, second season of the NBA here. So I think they come in. I think they put the clamps on the Spurs. I think they do what they have to do to get a W. Will it be a blowout? I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I still think Orlando comes in and gets the W.
Yeah. It's just going to be it's not just a long night for the Spurs the last couple of nights. They hung in a little bit against Boston before Boston just said, oh, yeah, we're the champs. Here we go. Let's take over this game. The Warriors just beat the brakes off them from jump. And then they got the Magic tonight. And Rudy, look at their schedule. Look how they close out the season against heavy hitters. You still got Cleveland. You still got Denver. So, might be for a few ugly nights to wind up the season. if there's a winnable game, this one could be it, but I don't know. Just defensively, the match.
Orlando has way too much to play for right now.
Now they want to be clicking at the right time. But by the way, before we put a wrap on this episode, man, shout out Keldon Johnson, man. He's definitely showing that he belongs with this rebuild moving forward, isn't he?
Yeah, he found his niche, and we've seen Keldon, perform every year that he's been in the league. And, he found his niche coming off of the bench as a sixth man, and that is a perfect role for him. I hope he continues to be with the rebuild on the Spurs. I hope he continues to, stay with the organization and take over that Manu-esque type, role and come off the bench and provide the fire, the spark that they need and contribute the way that he has been, because that's very important to any NBA team, as someone that comes off in that kind of role and just continues the ball rolling.
Yeah. Hopefully the Spurs can get a W. It might be a tough one, but it looks like it could be another L for the Spurs. Hopefully we are completely wrong, because too many L's of late, and way too many L's, and not really good. It's really just so deflating, isn't it? I mean, you get the L's, really, but it's also towards the end of the season already. You're kind of like, can we get the season over with already?
Yeah, but I mean, when you kind of expected it at the beginning of the year, it doesn't really hit you as hard. Sorry, I didn't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I mean,
You're right.
I kind of expected a low-end season anyway.
We've had two Debbie Downers back-to-back shows. We had Pleasure, who started off on Monday just raining on the Devin Vassell parade, and now we got you just raining on this parade as well. But yeah, sign of the times in San Antonio when it comes to the Silver Black. He is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Tell us about Sweep, buddy.
Yeah, so Sweep the League, you go to YouTube, so Sweep the League TV, hit the subscribe button. Doing a lot of NBA what-ifs because the playoffs are coming up. We'll discuss some NBA playoffs. MLB started, so we're doing a little bit of MLB talk as far as, great MLB stories and stuff. But, yeah, go to YouTube for Sweep the League TV, hit the subscribe button. We're we partnered up again with Refocus Radio, but on a merger type, so you're getting a whole lot of content now, and shout out to everybody that's making content for both the networks. It's just going to be bigger and bigger now.
Awesome. The best way to follow Rudy is on X. It is at Sweep the League there. You get all the notifications, the links to the show, everything. Again, at Sweep the League. Do that right now. And also let them know to get better. Get better, Rudy. Man.
I will.
Yeah.
Vitamin C.
You need a little shot of tequila there? Maybe a couple? That make you feel better?
Oh, man. I haven't drank in a long time, and I really don't intend to start.
Do you ever believe in that stuff? Like, where they say, like, you get a hangover and it's bad, just drink again? Like, doesn't it feel counterintuitive?
I've done it before, and it actually has been okay. But I'll tell you what, 7-Up is the cure for anything and everything. So I'll stick to the 7-Up there.
That just never made sense to me. It's like you wake up hungover because of alcohol, but the cure is to drink more alcohol. Like it's just like a never-ending cycle. Like you got to stop eventually.
Eventually, you got to stop. And that's kind of what I myself.
All right. Once again, he is Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Follow him on X at Sweep the League. Everybody else, we'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black as the season started to wind down. And we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your number one, your favorite, your only spot for all things silver and black. Follow us on X at Locked On Spurs. Also, don't forget to check out our YouTube page. Again, at Locked On Spurs from Spotify, iTunes, Campos Plus. We got it all covered. Locked On Spurs newsletter is in the description below on YouTube. Click on that link. Subscribe right now. It is completely free. Hit your email inbox every single day. So for Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.